Have you ever felt?
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.
Welcome to another edition of AFC North Talk. We were waiting. One of the co-hosts, he's coming. Ace is coming.
Late, celebrating that division title too late. You know, he's he'll be here. He'll be here.
We kicked him off the show because we just could not deal with that much Bengals happy on this show.
The Bengals are resting their starters this week.
Yeah,
they're resting
he
their
had
starters.
to remove Ace from the show. He's no longer. No, I'm just
nah, he'll be here.
Well, you saw the line in Bengals Browns, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, the Browns are like +6 or something like that.
No, -6.
Oh, -6.
Are we -6 now?
You're giving points. You're
giving them up.
I mean, we have nothing to like. Before, when we could at least be above 500, I could see us trying to win those games because you know what? I think perception does matter to a point. But
no, but
now that we already
the Browns are the favorites. Browns are the favorites. Browns are a touchdown favorite. Touchdown favorite, yeah.
Touchdown. I thought it was +6. That's somebody mentioned that to me, but yeah, it's like now. I mean, we throwing Miles out there. Now that might be for other reasons that aren't about football, but you know, Miles is out there.
One thing that I forgot to mention last week, and we all forgot. Hey, we're here, 2022, another year AFC North Talk. So, thank you all, you guys. Thank you for the super chats. Thank you for the people that have been subscribing to the Patreon. We're gonna be putting some stuff very, very soon. Thank you all for a better 2022, especially for the 3 franchise here. At least for this franchise, I don't care, but at least you know.
Are you wishing poorly for the Bengals in 2022?
I'm not wishing poorly. Just
I hope the Bengals have a good start to 2022. I don't know how I feel about how they end 2022, but yeah, I'm fine with the Bengals having a great start to 2022.
They had a pretty good start. It wasn't that last game in January. Yeah, they had a pretty good start.
I'm not hating on the Bengals. I don't want the Bengals to like lose the playoffs or anything. I legitimately want them to win a playoff game. I want that whole narrative of like I do because one, we won our playoff game before them, so we can still like we didn't have the streak longer, so I'm not like being petty and holding on to that. But honestly, it's been time. It's
you know what?
I've never understood the like I cheer for my division thing. I'm never that guy. I'm never
no. I don't normally cheer for the division. I root for Pittsburgh and Baltimore to lose all the time. But with the Bengals, it's like, bro, it's been like 30 years since they won a playoff, and they've been through enough. They had that damn 2015 game with yeah, they have had their moments in that first round that are just heartbreaking. That I just honestly, as somebody on the outside looking in who just roots on narratives in the playoffs at this point, I would like to see them conquer that one at least. It's like why I was happy that the Ravens finally beat the Titans last year because like the whole Lamar can't win a playoff game thing, it was just kind of ridiculous. And the Titans walk around like the Titans kind of move like assholes. So I was happy when the Ravens beat them and defended them. That's why I'm like, yo, the Bengals have been through enough in this first round. Let them get this one off their back. You know what I mean? They weren't hating on us when we beat the Steelers in that first round. So, I got to rock with them in the first round this year.
That was a lesser of two evils.
Now, you don't understand.
Everybody knows who the big dog is.
Yeah, you don't understand. Tony doesn't want to be here saying we have been the team with the longest stretch in the AFC North without a playoff win. That's what Tony doesn't want. You see, that's
we'll and also, if the Bengals win in the playoffs, that would then make the Steelers have the longest playoff drought in the division, playoff win drought in the division, which I find hilarious. You know what I mean? I am hopeful for that. So I hate the Steelers more than I hate the Bengals. So
for sure,
any situation that leaves the Steelers on bottom.
Don't rule it out this year. I mean, I don't know why we're just ruling out the Steelers can't win a playoff game this year. It's winning to get in for Baltimore and Pittsburgh.
I hope you do make the playoffs and the Bengals beat you.
So, what do you mean? Jaguars are an easy. That's an easy dub.
Wait, Tony, I think I know what would be better.
Yeah.
Wouldn't it be great, Ace? Wouldn't it be great if y'all actually made the playoffs and then the Bengals beat you to end their drought like the Browns beat you last year?
Back to back. Yeah, we're going
End
to
their
back to back.
drought?
Do that.
I
I'm
can't
gonna
brag about it. I've reached a point where I can't brag about that win anymore because you beat us 2 times this year and we lost OBJ in one game. It looks like
we ended
now.
OBJ's Cleveland career and then Baker Mayfield's Cleveland career.
Like both Baker and OBJ's last game as a Brown were losses to the damn Steelers. So I can't.
There was a last laugh. On that one.
Yeah. So
hey, I will throw this out. This is a conversation for off season, right? Before, I don't think Baker is done playing in the AFC North. Might not be for the Browns.
Wow.
Yeah, he might be better.
I'm just saying.
And say, you know what?
He goes to Pittsburgh. It is every Browns fan's worst nightmare. I've talked to multiple Browns fans about this who have said the last team they want him to go on is the Pittsburgh Steelers. Oh, you would like to see him on the Steelers?
Oh, yeah. I know what he's going to do.
Okay.
I know what he's going to do.
remember,
he might have a hot first year, and then y'all going to commit to him after that first year, and then I know exactly what's going to happen that second year. I know that.
Look what Mike Tomlin did. Listen, Mike Tomlin has done more with less. Okay, remember Mason Rudolph, Duck Hodges? I'm just saying.
I'm just saying, man. Like, I don't know. I'll take that chance. If the best the Steelers could come up with this offseason is, hey, man, we gonna retread Baker. Okay, yeah.
It would have. I mean, realistically, though, it would have to be an outright cut, right? I mean, there's no way the two teams are going to trade in the division.
Yeah. I mean,
I don't know.
It has happened before.
It has happened before.
Yeah, well, it's happened with guys like Chris Wormley, and I guess the whole AJ McCarron trade.
Joe Hayden wasn't traded
for AJ.
No, Joe Hayden wasn't.
No, he got cut. He got
cut. Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so before we start this, we have some super chats here. Fake Guy says, we're winning far more than a playoff game for years to come. You guys just move to the back. Thank you.
Thank you.
And then Dakota here says, wow, Q, respect. Hope Browns finish second next year.
By the way, just because I said I'm pulling for y'all, do not blame me if you do not win that game in the first round.
Yeah, you're going to predict the booty beatdown. You're going to predict the booty beatdown? Is that what's going to happen?
I'm not saying don't you dare say them words. We're not saying them words. Those are sacred words.
I said it
we got to put together rules for them words because Sonny used them words, and I ain't forgiven Sonny yet. Yeah, Sonny, you thought I forgot that you cursed the Browns last week with that spell. We're not saying that, man. It's like Baltimore. You can't say Baltimore, right? Like
okay, let's talk here. Ravens Steelers. And look, the Ravens have been falling badly, right? We have been going from first, now we're slowly down to third. We can't go to fourth. We can go to second. Can't go to first. It's either second or third. Same thing for Pittsburgh. Can't go to last. It's either second or third. I'm going to kick it out with Tony. I want to see what Tony thinks about this game. Matchup.
Yeah, so the playoff scenarios, by the way, both teams are alive in the playoffs right now. So both teams can get in. Both teams have it's a long shot for both. I think ESPN's FBI says like the Steelers have like a 6% chance and the Ravens have like a 2% chance.
Wink said it's just a 3-game parlay. It's winning in a 3-game parlay.
Yeah, it's an easy 3-game parlay. If only the NFL would let the Steelers in if the Jaguars covered. Listen, if the Jaguars could cover, I like my chances.
By the way, they should have Scott Steiner on the call for this game so he could do some of that math. You know what I mean? If the Steelers win, they have a 2% chance, and then you add the Ravens into the factor, so we have a 33.5% chance.
So both teams need the Jaguars to beat the Colts. The Jaguars need to win it's in Jacksonville. Okay, it's in Jacksonville. Line on that game, by the way, for those of you who are wondering, Colts by 15.
15.
So Vegas expects that game to not be close.
It is Carson Wentz, though.
That's right.
It is.
It is Carson Wentz. And another fun fact, the last time the Colts won in Jacksonville, 2014. So it has been quite a while. Division games are weird. So they need that. So the Steelers need that. The Steelers would then also need the Raiders and Chargers to not tie on Sunday Night Football. Now, both coaches have come out and said that they will not play for a tie. In the event that they could play for a tie, they will both not do it, which is very stupid to me because if you can guarantee yourself a entrance into the playoffs with a tie, Yeah, we both get in. Cool. Yeah, why would one of us want to get eliminated?
Lying, dog.
That's cap.
They will.
That's cap.
They will. If that game gets to overtime,
I don't see. I think what happened is I think Goodell
Quick
went.
question.
Yeah,
Tony, if it was Ravens and Steelers, right? We meeting and we say if we tie, we make it. If we tie, we make it. But if somebody loses, they're out. If I'm on Ravens, I'm coming for the Jaguars. I don't want.
Would you? No, because I mean this is like game theory 101, which is that you absolutely are both incentivized to tie, right? I mean, like you have to tie the game. Why would you give yourself the opportunity to lose? You can guarantee yourself. You both handshake agreement,
and then you stab them in the back and just at the end and beat them. That's what you do.
The real question is how many risks are you going to take in that situation if it gets to overtime, right? Like, are you going to go for it on 4th and 2?
No. You shouldn't even. You should just.
You're going to play the most conservative quarter of football, which is going to lead to nobody scores. So they might not intentionally go out there doing, but there's no way in hell they're like, oh yeah, we go Greg Williams this thing in 0 blitz and risk the game to win it here. No,
that's fair.
I think what happened is the NFL put this game on Sunday Night Football without realizing that this was somewhat of a possibility. And then when they did, I think Roger Goodell made a call to both teams and said, listen, if you embarrass us on national TV like this, we will never, ever forget this. Trust me. And so they're going to make these teams play it out, which is good for the Steelers because, again, that means that they just need to win. They need the Jaguars to win, and then they need these two teams to not tie. The Ravens need a little more help. The Ravens need the Jaguars to lose, or excuse me, the Jaguars to win, the Chargers to win, and Miami. Is it Miami to lose? Yeah, Miami has to lose to New England.
The Patriots.
Yeah.
It's possible.
Well, I mean, that's probably happening.
The Raiders and Chargers one is the interesting one there, yeah. Because the Dolphins are probably going to lose to New England. So both teams alive, although neither one with a likely opportunity.
Miami, for those, Miami is eliminated. They just can, if they win, they just effed up the Baltimore Ravens.
They just
the tie
because of the
three-way tie or the whatever
on Thursday. This is an interesting game. The line on this game was earlier today. The line on this game was Ravens by 5. Ravens by 5 at home.
I was shocked by this line, by the way. Completely shocked.
Same. I thought this line should be. I thought there's no way Vegas makes this line more than a field goal either way because it feels like just a field goal either way is going to decide this one.
It's going to be a pick 'em, to be honest.
Anything under 3, I think would have been valid. It was 5 earlier today. Then Deontay Johnson came off of the COVID list, and the line came back down to 3.5, which is also surprising because how about that? Deontay Johnson is worth a point and a half. In the eyes of Vegas. Whew. Okay. I respect it.
Good player.
He is a good player. And he's certainly key to that offense. I mean, that was going to be one of my big problems with this game, kind of looking at the Steeler offense and saying, like, how are they going to move the football without any sort of reliability at the wide receiver position? There are, though, 3 things that worry me about this game for the Steelers. Right. So obviously the Steelers, they need to win and get in. The Ravens aren't playing well right now. Lamar Jackson not going to play in this game. So I think Steeler fans are coming in confident because they beat this team already. They just watched the Steelers beat up on the Browns and Najee Harris have a great game doing so. I do think, though, and I touched on this on the show we did earlier this week, I think it's really weird that this game is being played at all. Considering what I watched on Monday night and Ben Roethlisberger and his kind of exit and all of that and the ceremony that went with it, it is weird to me that we threw the guys going away party on the day before his last day at work, right? And that last day of work is going to be a little weird now, watching him again, because it was pretty final the when we watched him walk into that locker room. And I think for the team, yeah, go ahead, Q.
It's like when you say goodbye to somebody and then you walk out and realize y'all both waiting on.
Yeah, you go to the same place. Yeah, it's exactly like that. Okay, wow. So, because you watch, I watched it again last night, the last kind of 15 minutes of that game, or 15 minutes of real time, everything after Minka's recovery of the onside kick. I mean, there's so much emotion there. Hayward saying goodbye to Ben, Tomlin hugging with him, even the young guys who didn't play with Ben for a long time, right? Najee so excited when he takes that final kneel down. Freiermuth after the game. I think that this is an emotional letdown spot for the Steelers, no doubt about it. I mean, this is a game 6 days later when this team puts so much into getting Ben that last, that last win. It is I think this is no doubt going to be an emotional letdown spot for the Steelers. No way they're going to be playing at the same level they played on Monday. Number two, for me, the problem for me in this game is I think the Ravens are incentivized to finally use the game plan we've all been talking about, which is just run the ball against the Steeler defense. Like just come out with a Ryan Tannehill, Mac Jones type of thing where you're just going to run the ball on every single play until they can stop you. We haven't seen a team really do that against the Steelers yet. And I think that the Ravens are incentivized to do that because we know John Harbaugh, he's a petty dude. He's a real petty dude. He knows all the stats and he knows all the numbers. I mean, remember what he did to the Denver Broncos earlier this year just to keep that 100-yard streak alive. I can guarantee you he does not. He absolutely does not want TJ Watt to come even close to breaking or even tying that record in this football game. And I imagine he's going to run the football a whole hell of a lot in this game to avoid TJ Watt coming anywhere close to breaking that record. And I think it is probably the right thing to do against the Steeler team. And the other thing that bothers me about this game from a Steeler perspective is how poor they've played on the road. You know, this is a team that's, yes, they've won some big games here. They beat Tennessee, right? They beat Cleveland last week. You look at their performances on the road. The last 4 times they played on the road, this team has been down by no less than 17 points in each of those football games. I mean, they played really, really poorly on the road recently. And this is a road game, as I said, that's likely to be an emotional letdown. As far as the Vegas line, look, I'll take the Steelers and you know, I'll take the points. 3.5, I think, is too many. I think this is probably a Justin Tucker, you know, Chris Boswell type of game, right? 2 of the best kickers in the league right now, kind of gunning it out at the end of this one. Who has the ball last? Who can get their kicker into field goal range last? I don't love the Steelers in this one. I think it's weird that we're going to play this one because it's going to be weird to watch Ben again. But yeah, I'll take the Steelers in a very, very close game.
Let's go a couple of super chats here real quick. Nate Atkinson says, thoughts on Bengals Pats round 1. Real quick, I think Bengals take that game in my opinion. But
I mean, for me, I think a lot of Bengals fans want the smoke now because they were talking about, I think so. And when I say they, I think it was a Patriots people. They were like kind of downplaying the Bengals. They were just kind of like acting like it would be an automatic W if they played us round 1. So now we want the smoke with them for sure.
I think it's certainly their toughest matchup round 1 would be that defense and Bill Belichick. Yes,
I agree. I think Bill Belichick is the thing that worries you in that game. I don't know if Mac Jones worries me though. That's the whole thing. The defensive genius of him. Yeah, that guy. I'm not so. I mean, this is a guy that threw 2 passes in one game. I mean, I don't think he's not scaring me at least.
I was talking all that shit about Mac Jones before we played him too. I'm just gonna throw that out there. I don't think he's the greatest quarterback in the world, but I was like, Mac Jones. Y'all know how much shit I was talking about Mac Jones. And
Mac Jones.
Yeah, I'm not saying he's a great quarterback yet, but I think he's certainly capable of putting together a solid game.
Yeah,
yeah, definitely.
One thing that's interesting about the Bengals and looking at their playoff run that they're about to go on is that they're likely not going to face someone with a ton of playoff experience, right? Carson Wentz, has he even played in a playoff game? I think he played in one.
Maybe one,
right? Okay, so he's going to play against Herbert, who has no playoff experience. Derek Carr, who has no playoff experience because the one year they made it, that was the year like Matt McGloin or whatever.
No. It was the dude Connor from
Connor Cook.
Connor Cook from Michigan State.
Yeah, and then he went to the AAF and he was awful in the AAF. He got benched in the AAF in the spring league.
Sad.
Yeah, so that is interesting because you talk about the speed of the playoffs and understanding how the game changes in the playoffs, but that's not going to be an issue because both whoever the other quarterback is, whoever the other team is, they're likely going to have to go through similar things. I mean, we're not going to have a kind of savvy veteran out there to go up against Joe Burrow at least in round 1.
Yep. Ryoshi here says, if Mike Tomlin gets Baker, he's torching the Browns for another 10 years. LQ, stop the cap.
I would love to see you try. I would. The idea that you're going to get 10 consistent years out of a Baker Mayfield when Baker Mayfield has proven himself not to be reliable. I mean, if you want to trade if you want to make a trade for Baker Mayfield, I think Andrew Berry.
No. We don't want to give up assets for Baker Mayfield. You need to cut him out, right?
Y'all think he's going to terrorize the Browns?
He hates everybody. He hates the whole organization.
That's worth a 4th round pick, right? Come on, throw that 4th round this way. Because
10 years of misery was worth a 4th round.
10 years, man. No. Yeah, I'm willing to take the bet on 10 years of misery Come on, stop the cap. You can't tell me that Baker's been terrible, Steeler fans, for as long as y'all been telling me Baker's terrible, and then tell me he's gonna terrorize the Browns for 10 years. What? Who is he?
I would rather Baker is low on my list.
Who
Certainly,
don't want that to happen might be Bengal fans because they are tired of this thing with Baker Mayfield.
That Baker stuff is not happening. Let's just be real.
Yeah,
Let's just be real.
You knew the season was over when Baker opted out of a chance to play Cincinnati because I'm like, oh man, he don't even want his one game where he gonna get like 200 yards or something like that. Like he opted out of that one when they ain't starting Joe Burrow. Well, I don't know. His record against anybody not Joe Burrow isn't as good as it is against Joe Burrow.
He opted out during his post-game.
Before talking to anybody, we'll talk about that because honestly, we got nothing to talk about with Browns Bengals, so we'll just talk about that.
Yeah, we're gonna have to talk about that one because
Beer Bottle here says he gives you 5.
Oh, this guy, he messaged me on Twitter. I was talking to my wife about it.
Tony. Gas money gets up to Duval and leads those Jags to the.
I got to tell you, my wife and I did have the conversation. Like, should we actually go to Jacksonville?
Go to Jacksonville.
Hey,
and cheer.
You got a real one.
Would
You got a real one if she considered that for even.
Oh yeah, no. She even told me, she's like, "Oh, I'm a teacher. I could get us a discount on tickets." I'm like, I don't think we're gonna need a discount on
Jaguars. You're gonna need the discount.
Yeah, I don't think we're gonna need the discount. I think we can hold on that one.
I don't think you want to pay face value.
Wouldn't it be funny if they showed the images on Jacksonville and half of the stadium is just Steelers fans there cheering on the Jaguars?
They need to. They have. I've been to their stadium, by the way. They have a beautiful screen there. They need to put the Steeler game there, right? So that obviously all of us Steeler fans can actually watch the game we want to watch while cheering on, Duval. I'm ready. Let's go.
They do have a beautiful stadium though.
Yeah, it's very nice.
Yeah,
Really?
it's nice.
I was surprised. Yeah.
Noah Stone here says Steelers should have signed AB for Ben's last game.
Did you guys see AB's podcast that he was on today?
No,
he was on a podcast today.
Oh, he was on a podcast today, and I feel bad for those interviewers because AB of course was late to the interview because he's AB.
Yeah, of course.
And so they're all like pregame and they're like, "This is gonna be so fun! I can't believe this is gonna happen! Oh my, I can't wait to talk to him about this and that." Then he gets there and they realize how insane he is and how like asking him any question just leads down like the craziest rabbit holes, and they're just like deer in headlights. Like, I don't know what we're AB. They're like AB. Oh, no, don't talk about. It's great. It's a great interview. Highly recommended.
You'll be like, Antonio Brown, what do you think about the concept of post routes? He'll be like, I was a postman in Florida, and one time I almost killed somebody on what? Hey, yo, stop!
No, my favorite thing though, he gets on this whole like how he's there to kumbaya, and then he can't stop. It's a fun drinking game. Every time AB says kumbaya on that show, take a shot. We'll see how long you last.
Oh no, AB with some liquor. Oh no, that's not a good mix.
That's for the person.
Remember when he went on the shop?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And now, by the way, he had all those bad things to say about Ben Roethlisberger on that show, and then he goes on this show, and all he does is talk about how great Ben was and how Ben threw him the ball and Brady won't, and Brady's got ulterior motives now.
He beat with Tom Brady.
He throws Brady under. Yeah,
he literally was living.
Tom Brady.
He literally was living in his house.
Nope, not anymore. He said, "Why are we friends?" He's friends because he wanted to win a Super Bowl with me. We're not real friends. Oh yeah, he goes on the whole thing.
The rabbit holes Antonio Brown is gonna go with that.
Wow. It's a great listen.
I might have
to be monetized.
Wow. Okay, Joe, here with Super Chat. This Ace Beer Money. Okay, this is Ace Beer's money.
This is beer money.
Love you all. What an interesting division. This will be next year with 2 solid QBs and 2 question marks.
I wouldn't call Lamar a question mark. Like obviously Burrow and Rodgers are going to be they're going to be solid, but I don't know that I'd call Lamar a question mark. Like he's still good.
This is my favorite Tony.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? No, give no fucks, Tony. I love it.
Yeah. Can't wait for the Steelers to be crappy.
It's never gonna happen.
It will. It's coming. Predator here says Big Mac Daddy Jones to your Browns and Bengals fans.
Big Mac. Wow. I think Big Mac is right because Burrow's like prime steak and he's a Big Mac from McDonald's as far as it goes.
Young McCorkle can spin it, man. I'm just putting it out there. Young McCorkle can spin it. This is not Kirk Cousins you going up against. He can be a lot better.
Kirk Cousins is better. Kirk Cousins is not a bad quarterback.
I
Yeah,
really
Kirk
hope
Cousins
this- I truly, I'm not trolling. I really hope this does not blow up in your face. I really do, because I disagree with the statement, but
That
you know,
that you
I
think
get why
that
you feel that way.
Mac
because
Jones
I
is
was
better
doing
than
the
Kirk Cousins.
Same shit, man.
Right now or will be?
Yeah.
Right now?
No.
I mean, if you gave
Cousins
Kirk
better right now.
Cousins, Bill Belichick, and the whole Patriot Josh McDaniels as his offensive coordinator, I think
Not a lot around him in
Kirk
Minnesota
Cousins.
right now, though.
Offensive
Justin
line,
Jefferson, Adam Thielen, like
Yeah.
he's not around
Dalvin
nothing.
Cook.
O-line,
Kirk Cousins.
O-line is
quarterback-friendly
bad though.
system.
His O-line is bad. His
Yeah.
O-line is really bad.
This reference is going to date me and also probably only be relevant to Steeler fans, but I think Kirk Cousins is like this year's Neil O'Donnell, or this generation's Neil O'Donnell, right? He's a quarterback who's like, he's solid but when you need him to actually come through, when you need Kirk Cousins, like, all right, Kirk, you got to make a play here. Like, we need this. You absolutely cannot count on Kirk Cousins whatsoever.
Kirk Cousins is a Toyota Avalon. Like, it's cool to get you from work. It's cool to get to the drive-through. It's cool to get you almost anywhere you need to, unless you need to speed away from somebody. Then you caught. Like, that's Kirk Cousins.
I mean, I agree. Kirk Cousins is not a bad quarterback to have. I just those pressure situations that you need him to come through. That's why he's
Sounds
always
Andy
like
Dalton.
He's one of those dudes. It's like, that's why I know you can't win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins, because eventually you're gonna need that in the playoffs.
Yeah.
And Kirk Cousins, he's like not just bad, he's not just unreliable. He is like negative in those situations.
You know who he reminded me of for a while? Tony. I felt like that was Tony Romo, right? Tony Romo in the big spots. He didn't like. And the big thing with Tony Romo, he played in Dallas for everybody, Tony Romo, like, because he was a Cowboy quarterback.
Yeah.
Tony Romo, when he needed to rise to the occasion, I mean, those Dallas teams weren't bad where he was, and they never went very deep.
And I don't disagree with that. I'm just saying, where do we have this evidence that Mac Jones has done it in clutch situations?
I know what you're saying.
That's the only thing I'm saying.
I agree with you.
I think he's a solid quarterback.
Did the Patriots win any big games this year other than that Bills game? Because the Bills game was the big game that they won. That was like the best team they beat.
Nice.
Oh no, I guess they beat the Titans too.
Oh, the one seed. I don't know. There's just not that many good. There's like one good AFC team, and that everybody believes in is the Chiefs, and they didn't play them this year, right?
Correct.
Right.
Yeah. Bengals beat the Chiefs though.
Yeah, they did.
So did the Ravens. Anyway, Luke Walker here says Pats versus
Before they were good.
Bengals.
Asterisk.
I mean,
Pats
I like the spirit.
pulling for the nuke. Thank you, Luke, for that.
Pats Bengals. Yeah, I mean, it's not for Steelers fans.
Yeah, Steelers fans. Where are they? Where are you guys siding on that one? Because I know you hate the Patriots and then you hate the Bengals too. Which one? Which team do you go for?
We all be cheering for the Bengals. We need to do a live watch party here. Just all of us rooting on the Bengals.
I don't know who I would cheer for in that game.
I'm down for that.
Tom Brady ain't there, Tony.
I know, but it's the Patriots.
Yeah, but Tom Brady's the one that hurt you.
You know how you guys have this whole vision of like, oh man, as soon as Ben retires, the Steelers are going to be so crap, and I just can't wait to watch them be bad for like 7 years. That's how every Steelers fan felt like. Once Brady's gone, we're free from the Patriots. And then they got Mac Jones, and they're like, oh, they're just as good. Like 1 year off. We got 1 year off.
You did get what? You got 2 years off because you're not playing them in the playoffs this year.
No, I'm saying like we as a Steelers fan base got to watch them like out of the playoffs, like out of relevancy for 1 year.
Nah, you really thought that Bill Belichick was gonna watch what just happened with Tom Brady and just continue to be trash.
He's a bad drafter. So the fact that he ends up with a quarterback who's actually good.
But you saw him this offseason, they were spending in free agency.
They really
Bill is. Do you realize that Tom Brady has almost won in the same amount of time since the Steelers' last Super Bowl? I think, like, he's almost won as many Super Bowls as the Steelers have as a franchise. I think he's at like 5 in that time.
5, yeah, because he had 3 before, and then
no, he had 2 before.
Seahawks, Falcons, Rams.
Yeah,
these 4.
He could get 5. He could tie.
He's not getting 5 this year. He's not getting 5.
I mean, he already has more on
his curse of AB. The curse of Antonio Brown.
Tom Brady has more Super Bowl rings.
I know he doesn't. He sold his soul to Antonio Brown. Now Antonio has blown up that team. They got to deal with all the Antonio stuff.
I would say this, Tony.
7
your
rings.
comment. I never understood what Bill Belichick didn't just say, okay, why the Rams approach, right? Why am I drafting people? I need that player. Here's the first round. Here's the second round. I don't care about draft picks.
No, and his thing was actually the opposite, right? Remember, everyone used to talk about
gather.
Belichick, he just hoards draft picks. Oh yeah, he's a hoarder. He has so many draft picks all the time. You're like, yeah, who were those guys exactly? Who exactly?
Especially 3rd to 5th round.
Yeah. I mean, he actually was better in later rounds than he was. I mean, his first round misses all those years in a row. Whoo, boy.
Yeah, not good. Anyway, here from Roar Sports Media. Shout out to you. Thank you for the donation. No cap. I live in Jacksonville. My wife is a Fanatics employee. We got tickets to the Jags 49ers game. 90% of the stadium were Niners fan. Honestly, sad to see.
By the way, I've been to a
Jaguars. I didn't even know that he was from Jacksonville. Go ahead, Tony.
No, I was just gonna say I was at a Jacksonville preseason game one time, and their fan base is insane. They are very ruckus. Yeah.
They definitely. I mean, it sucks because obviously now they're having a bad season, but they definitely have some diehard fans when they're in there. And like Tony said, I think I went to a preseason game as well. I was just like the only Bengals fan sitting in there, and they were just messing with me the whole time.
Yeah. Somehow Jaguars fans think like, you come to our stadium, how dare you? It's like, you're the freaking Jaguars, dog.
I thought you built this for me to come in. That's why there's a pool, right? This is for that, right? Like, come on, man. Come on. You can't be sorry and have no history. Like, at least Browns fans, we got history. We had Jim Brown on us. We invented the face mask. Y'all invented putting the pool in the stadium. Like, that's
come on, they had Mark Brunell and
Jaguars that brought to the
Mark Brunell. They had Byron Leftwich.
Yeah, Maurice Jones-Drew.
Maurice Jones-Drew, Fred.
How long do you have to search in
Fred Taylor,
like in the Hall of Fame museum before you find something from Jacksonville Jaguar?
Has a Jaguar ever been in
Jimmy
the
Smith? Jimmy Smith was pretty good.
How many Jaguars were in the Hall of Fame?
No, none.
Over under 5.
No, wait. Didn't they have an O-lineman go to it?
Tony Baselli's in the finalists right now. Tony Baselli's in the finals right now to go in.
They had an O-line, but I can't.
Did Keenan McCardle make it, or
I don't think it would have had to be Jimmy Smith, but I don't think Jimmy Smith made it.
Jimmy Smith?
Jimmy Smith is like the best Jags receiver of all time.
Wait, what about
Jimmy Smith ain't in the Hall of Fame?
But he had off the field issues. Fred Taylor did. Fred Taylor is like the best Jaguar of all time, and he hasn't made it. He should.
Wait, he's better than Maurice Jones-Drew?
Yes, Fred Taylor.
Yeah,
yes.
Fred Taylor was probably better,
more consistent. The problem with MJD was he got.
Fred Taylor has 11,000 yards. He's not in.
Yes.
Is Justin Blackman still technically a Jaguar?
I don't think so.
He was been on the team for he was on the team.
He
like
played
a couple
for
of
2
years.
seasons.
Wait, do the Jaguars have no Hall of Famers?
No,
I don't think they have a single Hall of Famer.
I don't think the Texans have any, although JJ will.
The only one they have a chance on is Tony Baselli this year, and it really should. Fred Taylor should already be in there.
Yeah,
it's hard for running back to get in nowadays.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Tony Baselli's not in the Hall of Fame. All right, whatever. No. Weird. All right, I know there's a weird.
He's on the finalists. He may be in it this year. Yeah.
It's just one of those rough spots where it happens with Bengal with the Bengals too. It's like it's not fair, but if you play for one of them franchises that like people have deemed like not really important for whatever reason, if it's fair or not, they do have a bias against you because this happens with the Bengals. This happens with the Jaguars. It's happened with, I forget what other teams, but there's definitely like a bunch of other teams. The Chargers, it happens to sometimes with
they're not in a big market. They just are like, oh, well, all right. Your players,
or if you're not like a historic, like Steelers will never have
Steelers
problems getting into the Hall of Fame. Ravens, they've done so much in their short time. They'll get in. Browns will probably get in. I don't know. This generation, it might be hard, but
you're going to get the tackle. I forget his name now, but
Joe
that
Thomas.
tackle.
Joe Thomas is going to get in. Yeah. If Miles stays at this trajectory, you can assume probably him, TJ Watt, going to get in eventually.
Oh yeah, another Jaguar should get in, but he's not eligible.
Peyton Hillis, you gotta get Peyton Hillis in there.
Covering Madden. Hey, covering Madden. Don't forget that.
Why are we ignoring the elephant in the room? Like, why has the Hall of Fame committee not started considering Blake Bortles? He's going to be eligible in a couple years. You know what I mean?
He's not eligible yet.
Noah's still here. Shout out to you. Thank you for the donation. Bengals doubting Big Mac. Next Brady first round loss.
Nah, I mean, I don't think we're doubting Bill. I'm doubting Mac though. Yeah, I'm not. I mean, to me, Bill has enough. I think that we've seen, but I'm not. We just took on Pat Mahomes. We've taken on
you
other
don't
guys
have a
like
fear
that.
of Josh McDaniels?
Josh McDaniels, yeah, that's a good one.
Josh
Yeah.
McDaniels. What he gonna do?
Babe guy here says, next person says, who they? To me in public, I'm gonna say, get out of here. Where were you all this year? Take your bandwagon and get lost.
I never understood this mentality, man. You
Yeah.
hot, bro. You got Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase.
Yeah,
People are going to be rocking with you. Half of LSU
yeah.
is your fan base. You better get used to just bringing them on.
One thing I'll say is there's always a divide in Bengals Nation because we've always had so much bad luck. There's always going to be this segment of fans that are just waiting for the other shoe to drop. Like if you live tweet or like if you watch like live Twitter for Bengals Twitter, you'll see the ones that are the fans that are just negative immediately. Like when Pat Mahomes went out and scored a touchdown and they went up like 14 to
Game's
whatever,
over.
They were like, "Oh, game's over. Same old Bengals. Fire Zach." No, it's just like there's a segment that they just wait for it to happen. And now like everybody that was like fire Zach and all of that are like Zach Taylor, coach of the year, who they? And it's like, nah, we remember what you were doing during that time when we were down. So
I got Joe Burrow, man. Y'all gonna be all right.
Yeah. No one still here says, Tony, have you not learned, bro? Never doubt.
Listen, I'm not doubting. Listen, I am not. There's not a single part of me that's doubting Tom Brady and his ability to go and win 9 Super Bowls in a row here with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers.
At some point, he just got to retire because it's not fun, right? Like you got to let the other kids.
Why would he retire? He leads the league in passing and passing touchdowns. I mean,
nobody,
we're never going to be.
Nobody's like, this is the song year for Tom Brady. He is 5 years older than Ben Roethlisberger, right?
I know. He doesn't look like it, though.
No, it's whatever.
This dude,
I need to find. Like at some point, if he wins Super Bowl again, like I got to find a new hot.
It is amazing.
All in Formula One guy for me.
He is so much older than Ben, and Ben is out here like getting wheeled out on a wheelchair, basically like on his way out. Like he looks old. Tom Brady's like,
but Big Ben never took care of himself, though. Let's be honest.
Well, Ben also took a ton of shots in the middle of his career. Right? I mean, Ben had the Bruce Arians era for Ben was not a fun one. When
not
he was
a good
50
one.
Sacks. Yeah, the 50 sacks a year that he did for 6 years or whatever that was, not good.
Y'all not telling me that Ben out here on that TV 12, you don't think he's drinking kale and all that?
You don't remember the report during the offseason? I mean, this happens literally. I mean, it's the stupidest thing. We actually did a video on it earlier.
The best shape of his
life. Best shape of his life. Yeah, so every year, nutritionist this year, best shape of my life. Yeah, I mean, every player says it. It's so stupid.
That's the funny thing that you mentioned the Arians thing because he gets like all of these accolades, and I usually think the same thing. And I remember last year, Willie Anderson said he was talking to Strahan. And they were like, man, Bruce Arians is like a quarterback's nightmare because those quarterbacks get hit so many times. Like you had said with like big Ben Roethlisberger, it's happened to Tom Brady, it's happened to Andrew Luck. Like he is not really a guy that really looks out for the quarterback with that system.
By the way, who is the most lucky man in the world other than Bruce Arians? Because I don't know if you guys remember this, but when Bruce Arians was out the league for that 1 year after he
Chuck Pagano?
After Arizona. No. I'm saying Bruce Arians is the luckiest man in football because when he was out the league that 1 year, he would not stop talking about how much he wants to coach Baker Mayfield. Like that was the year. That was the year we were gonna we didn't have a coach, right? We got
I remember he wanted to come to the Browns.
He was a play-by-play commentator, and he spent the entire year talking about how he would love to take the job in Cleveland if it's available, how he wants to coach Baker Mayfield, how that's his kind of guy. And he didn't get considered for that job. We considered only like Freddie Kitchens, and Kevin Stefanski was originally considered, but we didn't consider him after a while. John Dorsey wanted Freddie Kitchens. He said no to Bruce Arians. Bruce Arians goes, I guess I'll take the job at Tampa Bay. And boy, did that work out.
I was glad that y'all do that. I was like, all right, go ahead and pass on Bruce Arians. All right.
Yeah, especially for Freddie. I mean, the whole Freddie hire is hilarious.
Begging.
Another person going back to our Belichick conversation. Remember the rumor that Belichick was going to like trade everything to go up to number 1 and get Baker? I don't know if you guys remember those rumors.
Yeah.
That was like Baker supposedly Belichick loved Baker coming out.
Personality-wise, it makes sense, but I think that would be a nightmare for both of them.
Yeah.
He's trying to do the Patriot, like Baker in
but
the Patriot
if
way.
Baker
can't say
ever comes out and says this Belichick system just doesn't work for me, I need a new system, I don't think he understands that that's not going to go his way.
Yeah,
not gonna be great. Not gonna be great.
Okay, let me give you a quick take about this Ravens team, and then we kind of continue with super chats. Look, the Ravens are coming. I think right now, because of all the bad luck that they have throughout the season with injuries, they basically anybody has to tweak something ain't playing. So versus the Steelers for me are looking to play as much as they can because Big Ben, right? Making the playoff, although it's hard to be, but they have something. If they can fight for one more game for Big Ben. In the case of the Ravens, Lamar ain't playing, Odaf is not playing. Who else? I mean, the secondary, we talk about it. It's just people that were in the practice squad or in their houses at one point, and they just. So when I told you, Tony, that I thought it should have been a picking game, I thought should be a picking game because the Steelers should be favored, but because it's a Ravens home team, you put it as a picking game. I don't know, man. For me, it's hard to see how the Ravens, with the team that they're gonna show up, are gonna beat the Steelers. The defense specifically, although the Steelers offense is not great, the defense,
nope.
Yeah, this defense right now is hurting. Right? It's hurting, and there might be more players out. I don't even know if they're gonna play Calais Campbell. If I was him, they shouldn't. If he wants to play one more year, if he wants to retire, then sure, go play and do your thing. But man, I think what the Ravens want at this point is just nobody gets hurt. Nobody gets hurt because we won. Imagine somebody blows something and then next year you can't have it, right? At this point, you won't be able to have that player.
Are you asking us if we can imagine a Ravens player getting hurt?
No, I don't want you to imagine. Don't think about it.
But if I'm the Ravens, I'm rolling the whole practice squad out there. Like nobody of note can play in this game. Like
the Ravens almost beat the Rams last week.
Right.
They did.
I don't know the whole
the players are going to play hard. So there's two things. The players are going to
both teams play hard, my man.
Yeah, the players are going to play hard. So the team is not going to go there too late, right? The players are going to be going there. I said this last week. I said I was super proud of the team, but the Rams should have beat this team heavily, right? The Rams brought their A team, and the Ravens had whatever they had left, right? And the Steelers. My point is, the Steelers should win because of the team they're bringing into this game. I'm still going with my Ravens though, because of what you said, Ace. This team somehow, some way plays hard, and I think this is the game they're gonna say, Harbaugh, we're not going under 500. We're gonna play for you, and they're gonna
play for Greg Roman.
9-8 for Giro, yeah, maybe. They're gonna go 9-8. I think what Tony said is a possibility. They might run, but I think also Harbaugh is gonna be, you see that guy over there? The what guy? Yeah. We're gonna double, triple. As long as he doesn't get a sack, we're gonna get a win. And yes, Tony, you're right. He petty.
Yeah, he's petty. No, I don't think he's petty. I think he's gonna pass like 3 times.
No.
I'm ready for like
I think
TJ
Watt missed out on his opportunity to get that reward once they stopped letting him get sacks in Cleveland.
Funny, he's gonna pass. I think the over. I think it's between 20 to 25 passes. But
I'm shocked if he gets to 20.
In every passing situation, they're gonna double team TJ Watt, and they're gonna say, "We're gonna show them that we can pass, and we're not gonna allow the sack record."
Yeah, but even if you double him, I mean, the thing about Watt is that Watt gets, Watt does get a lot of his sacks, just by the chase down. If Huntley's were to roll out of the pocket or whatever and chasing him down.
Oh, that's the other thing. They're gonna say to Huntley, if you go run, you better just run after the line of scrimmage, and then if Watt makes the tackle, so be it.
I mean, I'm for it. I want Watt to get the record. I think it would be great. But
that's going to be fun to watch. Is like TJ Watt might get him, but you're like, goddamn, he was like 1 yard.
1 yard.
or he tucked the ball so it doesn't count as a sack. It's a tackle.
Yeah, that's the other one's like, was he trying to run or was it a throw? Yeah, there gonna be a lot of that stuff in this game.
Tony, Tyron Huntley is gonna see TJ Watt and he's just gonna dive into the Lions scrimmage.
grab Alex Highsmith as he
listen,
goes
all
to
he's
the
got to
ground
do is
so he
touch
can
him. All
get
TJ's got to do is touch him. I need Huntley, by the way. You remember how Strahan broke the record? You guys remember how Strahan broke the record?
Lay down. Lay down.
Completely
Arm just fell down.
It was an unbelievable.
No, he lay down. He laid down.
Peyton was like, "Oh, you got it.
Good
job, buddy.
Come through. Huntley, come through. Give
No,
TJ. Just give TJ one.
Huntley,
I don't think that's gonna happen.
A bit more
People might boo Huntley out of the stadium if he does that.
Yeah.
Last time these two teams met, TJ Watt had 3.5 sacks.
No,
I mean, does it count because it's the extra game?
I mean, listen, all the records are getting broken. All the records are getting broken. Even Jamar has a chance to break a record this week.
It's an asterisk. You know what I mean? It's an asterisk. It doesn't count anymore.
Well, listen, I mean, the 17 game ruins everything. I mean, I agree.
That is why Jamar wanted to break that record for Justin Jefferson within 16 games and not 17.
Hey, but let's be honest, Tony. All these records, at some point, they were unfair for the people that played 14 games, right?
No, of course. I mean, every record's going to get broken now that we're going to 17. I do want to say this to Steeler fans because I'm sure we may already have a comment already. He's like, Tony, but Watt only played 14 this year because he sat out. Like, okay, but in his 16 game season, he only would have played 14, right? I mean, missing games doesn't count.
Again,
I already know what I'm going to hear from Steeler fans all offseason. TJ Watt almost broke the sack record in 14 games. Man.
Miles.
You haven't heard this already? There's so many Steeler fans who do the whole don't even put Miles in. I never want to hear Miles and TJ in the same sentence ever again.
Same breath. Hey,
how dare you not think he's better than Aaron Donald?
Funny, you picked the Steelers to win, right?
I have the Steelers. I mean, I definitely have the Steelers covering. I mean, I'm actually probably going to bet this. I have the Steelers covering for sure. Winning outright. I mean, for the show's purposes, yes, I'll take them to win.
Okay, yeah, I have the Ravens by 3. Let me go for a couple super chats and then let me.
I have John Harbaugh going for 2 again at the end. By the way, does he go for 2 again in this one?
If it is, yeah, why not?
He goes for 2 and let TJ Watt get the sack in the 2.
He gets the sack on the final. Yes, let's go.
Well, no, here's the thing though. If he gets the sack on the 2-point conversion, it doesn't count.
I think it does. Yeah, I think it does count.
No stats count because if you get an interception there, it doesn't count.
What? No. Interceptions have to count on 2-point conversion.
The 2-point conversions don't count into your stats. I think they might count to like team stats, but they don't count to individuals.
No.
Ooh, I like that. Then
this can't be true.
It's like a no man's land.
Give it to you. To irritate.
I'm going to fact check this, but I don't like that at all.
Because interceptions don't count. I don't see if interceptions don't count why sacks don't count, but I know for a fact interceptions don't count.
Okay. Dakota here says Mac has the same stat as Big Ben. So that's not good.
That's how good Ben was this year. It's great. Yeah. Ben's an up and comer.
I learned my lesson on young McCorkle. I just hope he doesn't burn y'all.
The past master here says my Vikings are out, so rooting for Bengals.
He heard us talking about Kirk Cousins. He got the bat signal.
Yeah.
Like, oh wait, I want to talk about him too.
John Wick here says, Ace, congrats on the Three Migos shirts going
Trace
crazy.
Trace Migos shirts.
Trace Migos, so sorry.
Wow, that's Spanish, Sonny.
I know. We're reading English. But did you see those 3 Boston media losers making fun of Zach Taylor's press conference? I didn't see
that is why Bengals fans say they want the Pats round 1.
Ah, I got you.
Yeah,
I'll just say this.
Boston.
If there are any Patriots fans in chat, don't. I think all 3 hosts on the show can say this. Don't get on the Bengals wrong side this year. You won't like it.
I mean, please do. Sick them on them, bro. Like, they're not in the division.
So you know what?
Go after the Bengals. Sports fans, do your thing. Do what Boston sports fans do the best, which is annoy the piss out of everybody. Yes, please do that. Hey.
Yeah, I'm for it, actually.
The trip, we haven't seen you here in a minute. Shout out to you, man. Thank you for a donation. Why was it so normal for teams to draft a star QB or wide receiver and not to draft their counterpart?
Yeah.
By the way, Ace, don't get too comfy. Be back next year. Big trust. I like
Well,
that.
I think we have two versions of this in the AFC North, right? We have the working version of it, which is drafting Joe Burrow and his counterpart
I know where you're going with this.
Jamar Chase. Then we have the Steeler version, right? It's like the cable and DirecTV. Okay? The Bengals got the DirecTV
Jamar
version.
Chase and Joe Burrow at home.
The Steelers got the Mason Rudolph, James Washington cable version.
Neither of them will be in the team next year, right?
Well, Mason will
Browns
come back
and
next year because
Ravens
remember he
do
signed
this
that 1
thing
year
where,
ago, but Washington's gone.
Yeah, and the Browns and Ravens do this thing where, like, yeah, we got Baker Mayfield, but they got all of his weapons.
Yeah, I think it actually. So at first I was thinking that the Bengals were going to be like the first team to do that, but there were several teams. I guess technically when you really break it down, they tried to say like the Jaguars with Etienne and Lawrence, and then I think they had. There was another one. I think it was. I think it's technically Devonta Smith and Jalen Hurts or something like that.
They had it with the football team
and Waddle and Tua together.
Oh yeah.
So it wasn't just the Bengals that did it. It was like a bunch of teams that
the
did it.
QB from Oklahoma.
The football team
Ohio
did
State.
it. Yeah, football team. Haskins and oh my gosh, I can't believe.
Oh yeah.
Better player's name. I can't believe I'm blowing him.
Yeah, Terry McLaurin.
Terry McLaurin. Yeah. Which worked out for Terry McLaurin.
Yeah.
So,
The other one is in Pittsburgh.
Dwayne Haskins is in Pittsburgh.
Haskins is he had a cameo on the sideline in his street clothes while Ben was.
They still have him dressed?
No.
Street clothes. He's inactive.
Oh, he had the sweatsuits on. He looks like a coach or like a water boy out there.
He was like awkwardly standing as Ben was like saying goodbye and thank you to everyone, and Haskins is just kind of standing around like, what do I do?
I know Ben does not want me in frame.
It was not.
Ben had a conversation with him and Mason Rudolph. Do not get in my shot. Do not think you're gonna dap me up.
Ben had a lot of nice things to say about Mason this week. Actually, it was interesting.
Ain't like he worried about him taking his job anymore.
Yeah. Fang here says, Ace, you see Colin Cowherd say Joe Burrow should be the MVP.
I did not, but I was saying it after the last game. I think he's like a dark horse for the MVP because
votes.
I mean, you definitely always expect Tom Brady and Aaron Rodgers to be in that conversation, but I think doing what he did, I think against the Chiefs and against Pat Mahomes, the way that he outplayed Pat Mahomes in that game, I think he definitely is in the conversation, but we'll see. It's likely going to go to Aaron Rodgers or Tom Brady, but I think he should be in the conversation for sure.
Whenever Colin Cowherd like compliments one of your players, you're like, who does he hate on the team? So he can like what's his angle, right? Because it's like, does he not like Zach Taylor? So he's like, oh yeah, I'm gonna say Joe Burrow's the MVP in spite. Like, there's always like a backhand to whenever he compliments you, unless you're like LeBron.
The trip here says, but yes, I think Jamar has a chance to be number 2 wide receiver all time by the time his career is over, and Joe top 10. And another note, Baker.
No, Keenum's better than Baker.
I know. Yeah, that's better than
Baker. I think so. I think the Jamar Chase thing is coming because I don't know if you guys saw it this week. Chris Carter, they asked him about Jamar Chase, and he went on record saying that Jamar Chase, in the realm of rookie years, as a rookie, was better than Randy Moss as a rookie. He said that Randy Moss as a rookie only had, I think he said 4 routes, and he really was just beating people because he was faster. And he said that Jamar Chase is a complete player already as a rookie.
I would say it's the first time I've heard the comp to Randy Moss as a rookie where I didn't automatically have an egregious reaction to it.
Yeah.
So, but I've heard that with Justin Jefferson. I was like, you've lost your mind if you think Justin Jefferson is Randy Moss. But that's the first one. I'm like, it's not ridiculous, right? I don't know if it's true or not, but you know.
Before we go to the super chat, I want you, Ace and Q, to give me their thoughts. I'll start here with Q. What do you think about this Steelers Ravens game?
Big game, marquee matchup in the AFC North.
Yeah, I think the Steelers are only going to go like 8-8, so I think the Ravens are going to win. That's the amount of analysis that I put into it.
That's true. I should have said that. The Steelers going 8-8 feels right this year.
This just feels right.
It does. Like it really does.
This seems 8-8. They're going to go.
Tony, you said this. You said the Steelers will be the team that will go, the only team that will go 500 this year. You said they're gonna be 8-1 because we said like you can't.
It's a protest. It's a protest vote against 17-game season. Mike Tomlin was like, "You think I can't go 500? You think I can't go 500? Watch, John."
Okay, well, Ace, what is your take?
Proud.
This is a tough one because I think that I honestly felt like last week the Ravens were going to win that game. Obviously, some things happened at the end, but I still felt like they were in command of that one. And then the Steelers are playing for Ben, so there's two things kind of going on in this one. I think that it's going to be a really close game. The interesting thing is, I don't think that the Ravens are definitely going to let a rival team, TJ Watt, set the record against them. You guys hate each other. That's not happening. And I think on the other side, they're not going to let Ben. I think that they would love to ruin Ben's last game. I think that they have a ton of respect for him. But I think the last thing they want to see is Ben riding off in the sunset. But I'm going to take the Steelers in this game.
Okay.
I just feel like Ben has a trick up his sleeve, because that, even though that last game was a nice one to ride off into the sunset with the theatrics, was not a good game statistically, as we kind of talked about. So I think that Ben will at least try to go out slinging it here, and maybe he gets some opportunities, especially with that wide receiver Deontay Johnson being back in this game. I think that he gets maybe a deep pass to win this one.
How about Deontay, by the way? Deontay was on the COVID list for 24 hours, and then he came off. I wonder if it was a false positive. I know
so you got to get like two in a row to get off, right?
He got the test.
He dropped the test. You know what I mean? He got dropped from the list. This is Deontay Johnson's best attribute.
Yeah. By the way, you guys voted 347-2. Ravens winning over the Steelers 51%. So it's a close one.
It is a close one. It is.
Okay. So before we go to the next one, let me see if I can catch up with some super chat here. Brad Rupert says, Ace, what can we do to get our boys an indoor practice facility? Let's show our guys McPherson some love. He's been big this year too. Who they?
I mean, if we win a Super Bowl, do we really need one? I think no indoor facility builds character. It builds character. It's going to be a competitive advantage, I think, against the Indianapolis Colts, who practice in a dome. But if they come to Cincinnati and they have to play in the snow, it just builds character. But I think if they win one, maybe they will do it. I don't know. We'll see.
Okay, Seawell here says, Ace, congratulations, bro, on winning the division. And I can't believe we might come in second, even though this has been the worst offense I ever seen. So I'm assuming he's
legitimate question.
Steelers
I have
fan,
no idea what team he's cheering.
No, Steelers. Steelers.
You saying Steelers?
Yeah,
okay.
yeah.
But like that could be a couple of minutes.
The Steeler offense.
Well, it's either the Ravens or the Steelers, right? And the Ravens,
is it worse? Is it a worse offense than it was in 2019 with Mason and Duck? Is the question. And I don't know that I'd go.
It's not the same.
It's very close. It has been very bad.
Wait, didn't they run better when they had Duck and Mason?
They had Connor. Remember, they would do that. They would do the Connor and Samuels, and they would do that the Wildcat at first.
Oh, that's right.
They had some success doing that.
I remember
they
that.
weren't really that good running the football that year. You know, Najee. I know Najee's numbers are gaudy this year. I mean, from a raw perspective, obviously the per carry numbers are just at 4. So, yeah. It's not a good offense. I agree with Siglo for sure. It's very, very bad.
Bro Raven here is from the Canadian side. Ravens win 3-2. Watt safety gets the record.
Anyway, I'll take that.
Yeah,
that's fine.
One thing I will say, Sonny, is I got to give you your credit on Chuck Clark. He has been extremely solid this season. I think I kind of made some jokes about him in the past. He's definitely a solid safety for sure.
He's good. I think he plays out of position because he should play more in the box though. And they ask him sometimes to play too much free because Joker is also a box safety. So yeah, the other thing with Chuck Clark,
wasn't it because of Stevens now? Because Stevens you can't trust back there, right?
Well, Stevens, no, they're rotating both. Stevens is a rookie, right? The one thing that people don't know about Chuck Clark that people he's the play caller. He's the green dot. So
really?
Yeah, as a safety, that's hard, right? So he has to come down, call the play. Sometimes they rush up. After when the Ravens lost CJ Mosley, it was very hard to find who was going to call the dot, who was the dot guy, and they eventually went to Chuck Clark. So No Stone here says Harbaugh should pull a Bill and run every down.
I think he will. This is my prediction.
Direct snap. Well, I guess Hundley can run as well. So
Yeah, exactly.
No Stone here says Brady should be MVP, most cities, yards, and 44th.
Don't nobody want to get no damn Tom Brady the MVP. What do you need it for?
Super Bowl win.
It's him and Rodgers, and then Burrow. I guess Burrow is. By the way,
you know what?
Did I see right? Ace? Burrow is number 3 now in MVP odds.
Yeah, he is number 3 in MVP.
Give it to Joe Burrow.
Sure,
it's better than it going to Aaron Rodgers. I mean, why not Joe Burrow?
TB here, Sonny. Will this be a fair work game for Jimmy Smith? I don't think Jimmy Smith will be back as a Raven.
Did you hear press conference?
The what?
His press conference, Jimmy Smith's press conference.
Yeah.
He was like, "Yeah, man, I don't know if I can't come back here. Like, I don't want to be one of them dudes that like end up on the Browns."
No way. He said that.
Yes, he said that.
No way.
No, he was like, no
I love him more now.
disrespect. But
No
like,
disrespect before you
Yeah,
say
no
something
disrespect.
super disrespectful.
However,
I feel disrespected still, despite your disclaimer, sir. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Okay. Before we go to the next super chat, Tony, I know you had to go, man.
Yeah, is it coming up on time? Okay, yeah, I got to go here in the next 5-10. You want my thoughts on
Yes.
Browns Bengals? Yeah, I have no thoughts on that game. Who cares? I mean, honestly, Brandon Allen versus Case Keenum. I mean, my goodness. If I had like 10 TVs in my living room, I think I would put like ESPN News on or something rather than, my goodness, what is this game? I do have thoughts on Baker Mayfield though. I wanted to talk about.
Let's talk Baker. Let's talk Baker.
Yeah. I mean, Baker, the Baker Mayfield saga. I have, as you all know, I do like when things are going poorly for one of my co-hosts here. I like to just chime in a little bit and just
salt in that wound.
Just take a little temperature of the room a little bit. And I watched a little bit of Quincy's emergency stream yesterday. Good times. I've jumped into a couple Twitter spaces. And I've also listened to the Mary Kay podcast, Dogland podcast. I mean, I've
by the way, Tony, some of the players were in those Twitter spaces.
Ooh, okay. Okay.
And their wives in those Twitter spaces.
Ooh.
The reaction to Browns fans, I think Browns fans are almost, from what I've heard, like split 50-50. There's half of them that are like, good, I'm done with Baker anyway. Like, let's just be done with this and move on. And then there's this other part of the fan base that I really don't understand. This is where I want to get Q's take. What is with the like, woe is me, I can't believe this is happening to me, to the Browns. Like, I can't believe we had our guy and now he wants out and he sucks. And as I said like 3 weeks ago, Baker Mayfield, I believe, is doing every time he does one of these things where he's terrible on the field and then he comes off the field and says like, I hate everything about this team and I want off. Like, that's a huge service to the Browns, because when I hear Browns fans say this is the worst thing that's happened to us, like we got this guy number 1 overall and he's bad. Like, yes, that is a bad thing, but you did that with Tim Couch, right? You've done this with Brandon Weeden and Johnny Manziel. You've been through the whole like taking a quarterback you thought was that guy and he ended up not being that guy. This one, though, you were like 30 seconds from disaster, okay? Imagine if Baker doesn't get hurt this year and he's a little bit better enough that you go, maybe we should pay this kid. And then you did. You wrote the big check, okay? And then you find out, actually, no, wait, hold on, really bad. That is the worst situation you can be in the National Football League. And so the fact that they're avoiding this now and Baker is like actively blowing this up, because there's the other part of this where you could have that happen next year, where he is healthy next year. You play one more year with Baker, then he actually plays well. And then you sign him to the big contract. The fact that he's now like basically quitting on the team and then forcing his way off, I think that's a huge plus if I'm a Browns fan today. But Quincy, I want to get your take on that.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I think it's a huge plus. I think most fans haven't really they haven't absorbed all of this yet to where they could look at the long-term benefit of it, because they're just kind of wrapped up in the chaos that is now. And there are still people arguing whether this man should be able to come back this year. I think it's a wrap. I think he's done here. I think this is the Odell situation 2.0. Like, I think he has made himself unwelcome to this team, and the fact that there are no players, not a single player with a blue check mark next to their name, willing to stand up for Baker Mayfield on any of this, tells me that the locker room is not as divided as Twitter is about this.
Case was the only one that kind of defended him.
He got to, because he got to go be in the same room with the dude,
yeah,
right? Like, Case Keenum's whole brand is, I'm going to be the good guy in the locker room. Case Keenum can't be out here like they tripping on Baker right now. No, he has to like have his back. But other than that, who else has had his back that is not required to? Like Scott Van Pelt, he gone too. Like there is nobody that is willing to put their neck out for Baker Mayfield. There's no wide receivers. It's been like that for a while. And look, you might say, hey, maybe they don't like to say anything. But when Odell was off the team, already had gotten his walking papers, and then the reports came out Odell was freelance and he wasn't trying to help the team win. Oh boy, that 8, 9, 10 players are like, hey, that's lying. Like, we got his back. Odell, we love you still. Like, eat, brother. Anybody doing that with Baker Mayfield right now?
No.
Is there a single person? John Johnson said run the ball during the game, bro.
Yeah, he did. He tweeted.
This is telling me that what's been going on in practice, oh my God, it probably doesn't hold a candle to what's been going on in the games because there's not anybody. Myles Garrett's not like we got to hold it down for Baker. Nobody, not a single soul. Nobody's in. Look, people love to dunk on Mary Kay Cabot in the city of Cleveland. Like, I feel bad for her sometimes because people just love dunking on Mary Kay. The fact that the only Browns player that is willing to jump on the dunking on Mary Kay party when everybody loves to do it, David Njoku leaked a DM from her just to embarrass her for no reason at one point. He ain't in there. Yeah, Baker, get her. The only person that's like, yeah, Baker, get her is Brandon Whedon.
Don't forget Deshaun Kaiser, too. Deshaun Kaiser came out today, too.
Deshaun Kaiser and Brandon Whedon, who, by the way, the reports that Mary Kay said about Deshaun Kaiser and Brandon Whedon, boy, the ball's getting intercepted a lot. Boy, the ball's hitting the ground. Players are not confident in them and what they do. What did those two players do? Exactly what was reported that they did. So, yeah, this ain't good company. Like, not a single wide receiver that has ever played with Baker Mayfield outside of the dudes who played with him in Oklahoma, because I do think those guys still like him. But outside of that, nobody from this year is like, yeah, Bake, we got you. You going to hold this down. Man, get healthy, King. You know what I mean? This happens to Lamar. They get healthy, King. We got you. Nobody is defending Baker Mayfield right now. Like, I understand that these are not like reports where somebody is coming out and saying this with their own chest from within the team, but read the tea leaves. The man said after Monday Night Football, he's talking to his wife and his agent about whether he's going to play Week 17. That automatically, you might as well Avonte Davis that shit at that point,
that's
right?
A wrap.
Because people don't respect that.
Yeah.
You're not going to talk to us. You just going to bounce.
Yeah.
You think we don't want to bounce? We all injured too. Myles Garrett is about to play this game with a hamstring injury because he is trying to prove a point. They don't want Myles Garrett out there, but Myles going to be out there just so he can say, I was out there with the injury, but Baker got to leave because his little shoulder has been hurting all year. All of a sudden at the end of the year when he's been the healthiest he's been all year, he throws the most interception. Now he can't play. Come on, man. There is no part of this that says there's a franchise quarterback in that mentality in Baker Mayfield. Maybe if Baker Mayfield spends some time out the league and matures a little bit, maybe he might be able to develop into something because the physical tools are there. Some of the traits are there. But the way he's handling this, I mean, we roasted Odell on this show plenty. I talked about how Odell went to his daddy and all that and how that was funny. This is so much worse and so much more mishandled than the Odell Beckham situation for the player, for Baker Mayfield, because he is going out like an absolute clown. And look, if you want to jump on his bandwagon because he's mean to the media and y'all don't like the media here, that's cool. But don't ignore what's been in front of us. The absolute evidence has been in front of us about how this man had. We thought he was done with this kind of thing after 2019 when he embarrassed himself and had to humble himself all 2020. But the second his back's against the wall, he went back to the same tricks. And this is more evidence on a mounting pile of evidence that makes me go, I don't want to ever gamble anything, put any money, any assets on the future of Baker Mayfield because he's so volatile, he's so unreliable that what he's turning into Jeff George. Like, this is what his future is at this point. If he wants to be the next Jeff George, he could be the next Jeff George, but he could do that in Atlanta. He could do that in Chicago. He could do that wherever he wants to. But like, if I'm the Cleveland Browns, I'm 100% okay with moving on, even if we only bring in a Marcus Mariota for a couple of years, because this is unacceptable. This is absolutely unacceptable.
I have to agree with you on that. And I have to agree with Tony that the Browns are definitely dodging a bullet here. Like, Q hit it on the head too. 2019, when I saw how Baker Mayfield will react to Rex Ryan and all of these comments, I'm like, I don't want my quarterback doing that. Getting in spats with national columnists and stuff like that just kind of shows how mature he is. And then you talk about the interview the other day where he's talking about James Hudson, like literally throwing the guy under the bus. I mean, that's not what a quarterback does. Like I've seen, like Joe Burrow played with Bobby Hart, right? He could have easily thrown any of those linemen up under the bus and didn't do it. And I think one thing in a quarterback that you have to have is, even if it's not your fault, you need to be accountable. You shouldn't be calling out your coach. You shouldn't be doing all of this stuff when we all know at the end of the day, he had his fair share of what was going on to do with the blame and why Cleveland is in that situation. The good thing, though, is it's a W because the Browns did not make the same mistake that the Bengals made, giving Andy Dalton that big contract. So now you get to wipe your hands with that situation, and he's just making it honestly easier for them to move away from it. And honestly, Baker Mayfield, the player who he is, it's just going to continue to follow him wherever he goes, right? So maybe he does get in a different system or something like that. But at the end of the day, it's about his play and what he's done, and him not being able to take advantage of the situation that the Browns have, because they have a Super Bowl caliber team, but he has not been good enough to push them to that. And I think that they're better off without him. They're better off not making that investment. Could you imagine paying Baker Mayfield $40 million a year? That is
the thing is, like, how can you commit to this dude long term given what he has displayed on the field and how he's chosen to handle it off the field, right?
Yeah,
like that's what like makes it unacceptable. There might be, like with Sam Darnold, people were willing to gamble on that because Sam Darnold, as much as he got a bunch of garbage in New York, he ate it like a champion. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And he didn't end up being good, but you were willing to take a chance because you didn't think this is a dude who's going to like be volatile. Right now, this seems like he is a volatile part of his locker room. And then honestly, when you look at the non-reaction from everybody on this team, when this kind of stuff comes out and people on the team like you, they defend you. Like universally,
they defended you against Odell, and then you're like, deuces, you quit on the team. Let's just keep it a buck. He quit on the Browns. He quit on the Browns.
Nobody is coming out and defending you other than Case Keenum, who, you know, that's what Case Keenum's job is to do. But nobody is coming out having your back. Nobody is trying to jump on your wagon with you. Like, not a single soul is doing that right now. Tells me like that this is behind the scenes must be worse than what I'm seeing, because that's unusual. Like, remember, this is like the Draft Day movie. Remember with Bo Callahan and the coach was slowing down the table. He was like, nobody's helping him up from the field after he gets sacked. He must be an asshole. This is what I feel like is going on, man. And you can tell by the energy of the players during the year, the body language around them, they didn't rock with him. And this is probably the stuff and why.
Okay. Let me go to super chats. Aaron Rodgers doesn't, for Nova Storm, Aaron Rodgers doesn't deserve MVP. 6 less Super Bowl and then Tom Brady, overrated. The MVP is not a lifetime award.
Yeah, Nova Stone knows that. He just wanted to fit in his little Tom Brady flex.
Oh, gotcha.
Yeah, he knows. He knows. He like a Steeler fan. Don't ever miss the opportunity to tell you how many Super Bowls they did win.
Big guy here says, critics have no idea about an indoor facility in Cincy. Where are they gonna put it? They ever heard of zoning?
To Cincinnati's defense, they technically do have a roofed facility because that highway does cover their practice field. So it does have some shading. Like, there is a field that is covered. You know, if it's raining, they can stand under. And they do have 25 yards of turf inside the stadium.
Yeah, they have a field that could be considered like an indoor facility, but I mean,
not like 50 yards. It's just like it's like what they got at like LA Fitness.
But he is true. Like, there is zoning around PBS. Like, you can't just get everything. Like, they'd have to get some property and stuff like that. But
I mean, they the Bengals in Cincinnati. They could, if they got the will.
They want it. If there was a want,
ain't nobody gonna stop the Brown family out there.
Yeah, let me say this about the whole Baker situation. I agree with Tony's point, and y'all, you know, the best thing that happened, and I feel like what happens with the Browns fans is you can already see the jersey now, and adding Baker and adding the next quarterback. You know, that long ass jersey with all the names, right? And I think that hurts the Browns because there was a point they were like, we got our guy, right? We that jersey, we can stop it. No need to add no names. That's kind of hard. I get it, but look, you don't want to be in where the Rams were, right? And actually, a little bit worse situation because the Rams, even though Goff wasn't good, the Rams were able to win because Goff bought in, right? Goff was like, okay, I'll buy into whatever. Or Baker's not that guy because what Baker does is like, nah, I'm not buying in because this buying in, we might win if we run the ball more, we play action, I take more of a safe situation. This guy's open, let me take this instead of forcing here. You might win that way, but that way does not make me look good. That only gives me 30 yards. Go ahead.
And the thing is, like, you might be able to live with Baker Mayfield and his flaws in some kind of like a couple year basis if it seems like the mentality from everything that I'm hearing from people close to the situation is Baker wants to be in a situation where you're 100% committed to Baker Mayfield.
Mm-hmm.
And his level of play over the last 4 years does not put you in a situation where you could be comfortable with that. And he does not want to be in a situation, at least here, where he's going to be competing for the starting job. And I don't know who his agent is that's feeding him this, but I don't know where he thinks he's going to go that he don't got to compete for the starting job. Like, but I was talking about him competing for the starting job since like October for next year. I was like, he can't do nothing this year because it's Case Keenum. But next year, you got to bring in somebody to compete with them, right? And I don't know how that reality has not sunk into him yet, and that he thinks he can move in this way. And it would be disheartening if the Browns allowed him to move in this way, to me personally.
Yeah. No, I agree. My point is exactly. So Baker Mayfield, you would think he look at his playing and he said, like, I haven't been playing good. I need to just buy into the system. And in this fancy system, which is the QBX system, right? It's more, we have a good running back. Play this what Kirk Cousins has been playing. Right?
A quarterback with the mentality that you would have this type of season and understand, I got to get my job back. And you know what? I'm going to whoop ass in the offseason to make sure I don't lose my job. Baker is right now just upset at the ideal that you might bring somebody in to compete with him. And that's just that draws parallels to the fourth quarter. It's like, man, you don't want any pressure on you. You know what I mean? Like the pressure, like you can't handle the pressure.
Yeah.
And if that's going to be the case with you, like it ain't even worth it, dog. Like, we might as well move on because he's going to give you some highlights. Like I'm pretty sure wherever he goes, he probably will find a way to start. He will have some good games. He will play well at some points. Yeah. But if those are flaws that he has, I'm not willing to go long term.
But the funny part is, he being a walk-on, you would think he embraced that, right?
No, he doesn't. I think that's actually adds to it. Yeah,
because it's like everywhere he's gone, he's stolen somebody else. It's like the dude who marries somebody that like they stole from somebody else is probably gonna be more insecure about whether they're gonna get cheated on because they know like it can happen. You know what I mean? Like it's like one of those situations where it's like everywhere he's gone, he stole somebody's job. Texas Tech stole somebody's job. Went to Oklahoma, stole somebody's job, right? And then NFL, he stole Tyrod's job. You know what I mean? Tyrod was the starter. Tyrod was brought in to start that whole year. He stole his job by like week 4. He knows that he does not want competition because he knows it can happen to him. And that's just not a way we can operate. I have this theory in life that sometimes your greatest strength is more than likely your greatest weakness. Baker's greatest strength is that he has the confidence in himself to be a walk-on and steal the job at Oklahoma. Like that is his greatest strength. It's his confidence. It's also right now his downfall because the idea that you're going to have this confidence that you should be the starter and that shouldn't be questioned by anybody is ridiculous.
It's ridiculous. It's definitely ridiculous because you've got inconsistent play from him there. And then you got a really talented Browns team, right? Like the last thing that you want to do, because when you get into that aspect where you're kind of being talked about in the Super Bowl conversation, right? You're going to brush shoulders against guys like Pat Mahomes and, the Tom Brady's of the world. And you're going to have a quarterback that can take you to that next level. And if you ever have a situation, like even in the Browns situation, right, where you have injuries or COVID or something like that, everything you're going to have around Baker Mayfield is going to have to be perfect. And that is what the Bengals ran into with Andy Dalton. Everything had to be perfect. You couldn't have the line have issues. You couldn't have key injuries to players because he wasn't a guy that could really elevate the team. And when you go in head and head against these guys like Mahomes and stuff like that, you've just got to hope that he can stick up with these guys. But the good thing is you still got your boy your boy Myles Garrett in his prime. Don't waste the prime years of Myles Garrett, Nick Chubb, and all of these guys
and everything else is
waiting for Baker Mayfield to put it together. You don't want to waste that time because you need that. So I think the Browns have done a perfect thing with not giving them the contract, locking in those pieces around for a quarterback to come in there, because there's going to be a quarterback, and there's players, teams, and people that know that the Browns have talent. There's going to be people that look around and say, oh, yeah, I want to go there. They already have an offensive line. They already have 2 running backs. They already have a great defense with great players. Like, it's going to be easily a place that people can easily go there and take over and have success.
And the one thing I want to add to the people, because I heard these people, and these people have been arguing with me all week, to the people who are like, hey, you don't want to let Baker go, or you think that, getting rid of him would be this like huge mistake or something that you're going to regret or whatever it is. And it's like, I get where that fear comes from, but one, this franchise, I think, is in a truly better position than they have been in the past 20 years to be able to find somebody to bring in because they actually know what they're looking for. And at the end of the day, is Baker Mayfield, the way he's played and the way he's been, the bet you want to make? I don't think it's for me. For me, I've seen enough in the negative. As somebody who came into the season positive on Baker Mayfield, wanting to believe that Baker was going to take that next step, this season has ended in a way in which I don't find it a viable bet to make.
Yeah.
And that is disappointing. I get where it could be heartbreaking, but it's football. Sometimes you make bets on players. You think players are going to turn out. The Bengals thought that Carson Palmer was going to be forever. That didn't end up happening. They had to transition from Andy Dalton to get their guy now, who ironically wears 9, same number as Carson Palmer, and Joe Burrow, right? Like, these transitions can happen, but also understand that, just like the Bengals were able to go quarterback to quarterback because they've had some stability around that organization, the Browns can have that potential. The Ravens were able to go quarterback to quarterback because they have had stability around the situation, right? Finding a quarterback is a lot less difficult. At least finding a guy who could just start for a little while is a lot less difficult when you actually know what traits you're trying to identify in a quarterback and what you're actually looking for, versus when you're a team like the Browns have been for the last 20 years before Andrew Berry and Kevin Stefanski, where we're just, hey, man, what's Hugh Jackson's system? I don't know what he wants in the system. What's Robert Jasinski's system, right? Like, what's Mike Pettine's system looking like? You know what I mean? We never knew what we were looking for a quarterback, so of course it was hard to identify. This year is different. You know what I mean? They can figure it out. There'll be some stability around the situation. And ultimately, you don't want to be where the Bears were, where they hung on to Mitchell Trubisky too long. You don't want to be where the Jacksonville Jaguars were, where they hung on to Blake Bortles until they died. You know what I mean? You want to be able to be mobile with this quarterback situation. You want to do what the Rams did. You want to do what Philadelphia did. You want to be able to move on when it makes sense to move on, because you don't want to be stuck with somebody. And again, that's the worst place to be, is in that middle tier. It took the Ravens to 6-10 when they did that middle tier thing with the quarterback, right? Like, you don't want to do that. It's not a great way to go. So I understand it's frustrating. I understand it's not a fun thing to do or fun conversation to have, but we got to look at the facts here and really, be honest about what we should honestly do about the quarterback position.
All right.
Right now, taking a swing, a chance at Russell Wilson is honestly better to me than knowing you're going to keep Baker Mayfield.
Okay, so let me go. I have 2 super chats here. Akila says Burrow's easy to love, Baker's easy to hate, and then Eric
Burrow is a very likable guy.
Yeah,
I hate that about him. You know what I mean? Because he's so likable, but he played for the Bengals. I'm like, I kind of want this guy to win. I kind of hate that he went to Cincinnati sometimes.
Yeah,
because I like the guy. I love him at LSU.
Have 1,000 progressive commercial. I think that's what started with people and Baker.
Eric, well, I mean, there was more with Baker. Baker stuff predates the commercials. Like he was
with the Hugh Jackson thing on the sidelines. Yeah.
Well, it was at Oklahoma too. Remember, he had his issues. He's throwing balls at guys. He was
the Ohio State thing.
They're playing the flag. Like, Baker's been polarizing for quite a while.
I agree. Eric Beer here says they can't put a bubble over the practice field. If they want to practice outside, practice in the stadium, which they have been doing.
Yeah, I mean, I don't even care, bro. Like, if they win a Super Bowl, who cares? Who cares about the indoor facility?
Like, those jokes ain't going to hit no more, right? Like,
I will say this. Look, let me. So, just to touch something else with the whole Baker situation, if you're a Browns fan, I get. I'll ask something to Q and Ace. This is yes or no. Do you think, take the quarterback situation out of the question, you think the Browns have a Super Bowl roster, like a legit
Yes,
Super Bowl roster?
yeah. I mean,
Right?
honestly, like I used to say this all the time, and
Yeah,
I
the
was
top
just
10 pick,
like, they have. I mean, look at what the roster is. Look at
Yeah,
the
I agree.
linemen. Best line,
I'm not
best running
disagreeing.
back duo with Kareem Hunt, and I mean, you took
Mhm.
OBJ away, so that sucks. Like, and I used to feel the same about like when Dalton would be there, and we'd lose players because they'd be like, "Oh, well, we'll keep Dalton over this guy." Like, but yeah, I mean, they have. I mean, maybe now you just have to, and you can add a receiver in the offseason. Like,
Yeah.
if you add a quarterback and a receiver, like, they're right there. I mean, they were there. I mean, that was the only thing keeping me putting them like as Super Bowl favorites is the quarterback
Okay.
position. That was it. That was it. So, yeah, I
I
definitely
don't
think they have
disagree, Ace.
talent.
Q,
Yeah.
do you think you guys have again, quarterback apart? Do you think you have a Super Bowl
I'm
roster?
on the dating news too. What?
Oh yeah, shout out Ace, man. He doing big things. But yeah, I think they can definitely get to that level again. Like you have Myles Garrett, you have some tremendous players, and you have some assets that you can move around because you have excesses in certain positions. We were talking about Denzel Ward; he could become a trade piece to get a quarterback, right? Along with the first round pick, you might have a top 10 pick if you lose this game to the Bengals. So yeah, things could shake out to where you might have like the 8th pick in the draft on a team that has a lot of players other than at the quarterback position, right? And that's going to be appealing to people, right? That's going to be appealing to a quarterback. And I think the Russell Wilson thing, I'm not saying it's going to happen, but I think it has a higher possibility of happening than most other scenarios in which the Browns in the history of Cleveland were trying to trade for a quarterback because Russ is a fit in this offense. Russ knows he's a fit. Russ wants a good offensive line, and this is the best offensive line you could probably get behind, right? So, they're in a good enough position. They got guys like Dearness, or you can use one of those extra running backs you have as trade pieces to move up. You now have cap space because, again, you did not sign Baker Mayfield to a long-term deal.
Yeah.
You only have the 5th-year option on hand, which is like $20 million, and you can, maybe finesse that to another team and try to get somebody else to eat that in exchange for like a 3rd-round pick or something like that. But you're in a good enough spot to where, you could definitely build something, and you can they could be a great team next year. Who knows what they
But
could
my
do.
point to you, Q, is they should not. I guess what I'm conflicted is that I think the Browns should first attempt at all means to get. This year is a weird year because we are potentially talking about 3 top prime quarterbacks are going to be on the market, right? One of them is Watson, which is an asterisk, right? Because we don't know what the whole situation with him. There's the other 2. You have Russell Wilson and potentially Aaron Rodgers. But if it was only Russell Wilson, let's say, I think the Browns should just go all in because you have the rest of the roster. And Ace is right. You might be missing a receiver. I agree with that. But O-line is so much more
This nigga need to be a
valuable
wide
than a
receiver,
receiver. Yeah. Well, but if you trade for
There's
Russell,
like 8 of them in this draft.
no, I got you. But if you trade for Russell, you're just gonna lose your ass.
If they get either of those guys, somebody's coming to Cleveland. I'm just gonna say. So this is what I'll say, and I'm not holding this against. This is just from a football standpoint. Period. Right. The scariest thing for me, and it depends on how the legal situation happens. I said this last time, is Deshaun Watson, and it's nothing against Russell Wilson or Aaron Rodgers, right? But you got to take the age into consideration. If you get Deshaun Watson, you've got him for the next 10 to 15 seasons with those young guys, right? So you've got a guy that's on their level, top 5 potential quarterback that's significantly younger than him. Whereas if you get like Russell Wilson, I don't know how old he is, but I'm imagining he's nearing mid-30s. You've got like a 4 or 5, year window there. And then with Aaron Rodgers, what do you got, like 2 or 3 years maybe? Like Deshaun Watson is the scariest because he's still young. Like he's not even 30 yet. Like that would be scary.
I think I don't know. I don't know if they would go for Watson just because I think what they're looking for is somebody who could hold it down for 2-3 years. Worst case scenario, best case scenario can be like an elite bridge quarterback, right? Like I think Russ at this point, like you will bring in Russ, but the real objective with them bringing in Russ is you're probably going to draft somebody soon, and you want to have Russ hold it down. Nobody's going to want to bench Russ for a rookie, and then you can develop somebody behind the scenes. I think they probably want to get somebody soon that can be on a rookie deal so they could do the cap stuff that you can do with the quarterback on their rookie deal. I think the one thing that might stop them from Watson is like, hey, we have to give up all these assets, and then this is a quarterback that's already paid. So then you already are off that rookie deal window and all of that. I think they're probably aiming for something along the lines of let's get a bridge, let's get another rookie deal window. And then let's go in on that
roster. See, again,
it's hard right now because how long can you because Myles Garrett's with 25.
That's my
you don't want to wait till Myles Garrett's 30 to hit your next window. So that's probably why they want to get a really good bridge. That's why Russ, if you have Russ with Myles and all that, you can win the Super Bowl with that, right?
I agree.
But
my point is that's what the Giants, they need to go all in. I guess that's
either way, you're gonna have to pay for Russell Wilson too. Maybe not as much as Deshaun Watson, but you're gonna have to pay for Russell Wilson.
You have to pay.
The plan would be like,
Carroll ain't gonna be like,
we're gonna be as good as we can be for these next 3 years, but like the next window, we're really aiming for that next window. But if you got Russ, you got a chance every year.
I agree. By the way, Bengals 75, Browns 25 is your votes. Let me go with a couple super chats we have here as we wrap up this show. Eric Reed says, Ace, we care. It hasn't given us any advantage for 31 years. It's time to be up with the other teams in our division, including practice in my Al voice.
So PBS wasn't built until like early 2000s, right? Like they were going without like practice facilities since then. Like it's just, I get it, I understand it, but I just don't see like if they win a Super Bowl how it even matters. Like at the end of the day, this is football. Like I play high school football, we didn't have an indoor practice facility. Like honestly, like it just I think is it is funny. I mean, it is funny.
Yeah, it's not a real thing.
But there are some people that are like, it would give us an advantage. That's why we've lost in the playoffs.
The only thing where it would help you is like when you have free agents and they're touring through your facility. But your appeal as the Cincinnati Bengals right now is not
Joe Burrow.
Facility.
It's Joe Burrow.
Yeah,
it's Joe Burrow.
You're fine in that aspect, right? Like the Browns got a nicer indoor facility, but they're going to have a harder time bringing free agents here than the Bengals because, they got something unless they get like an established quarterback. But that's the appeal. And when you have that appeal, the other shit don't matter. But you could get it. It's nice, but it ain't gonna help nothing.
I agree. Corey Graham here says, "Stand up, Ace. Need to see that hoodie." Also, congrats on the t-shirt publicity. As a Bengals fan from Canada, it's been a pleasure to ride with y'all.
Yeah, appreciate it, man. Shout out to Local 12. Shout out to Alexa. Shout out to everybody that's been supporting. It's been crazy, man. Shout out to Joey B, because without Joe Burrow, I'm experiencing the Joe Burrow effect. We had like the Cincinnati Bengals experiencing it, getting all these players and all of that. Now I'm experiencing the Joe Burrow effect, and it's been crazy. Shout out to the Migos, Tyler Boyd, Jamar Chase, all of those guys.
Yeah, he's gonna have the PlayStation 6 by the time them hoodies done selling. He gonna be
I just know that the IRS is gonna be sending your boy an audit this year because everybody is putting it out there.
He's gonna show up with a Joe Burrow chain next year.
Do we need to say anything about this game? Anything more?
No.
The
game is irrelevant.
Really.
It's the backups playing.
I'm not about. I refuse to break down this game from an X's and O's.
Yeah, it's the backups. What can you break up? I mean, it's just the backups. You don't even know.
What do you take away from this game, regardless of what happens?
Nothing.
Like, what's there to take?
I don't think you can take it. Well, you can take away that Baker is gonna hold that 6-1 record.
Unless here's the only thing you can take away: if the Browns come out here firing on all cylinders, like excited to play, kicking ass, like playing the hardest we've seen them all year. Ooh, that's like when you fire your coach, and that tells me that they did not like dude at all. Like that, that would just further put the nail in the coffin, right? If Baker's not there on the sideline and they're like balling, like they're just like excited to play this meaningless game, that will speak volumes. But we'll see what happens.
I agree. Well, guys, thank you all here. Before you go, make sure you get the like, make sure you subscribe, make sure you follow us on Twitter. We'll be here next week previewing the playoff matchup, at least of the Bengals. We'll see if there's another AFC North team that makes it, but at least of the Bengals. So come join us. Thank you, everybody, for the support. Thank you. Make sure
it will
also,
be the all Bengals show that you guys have been asking for more than likely, right?
That is true.
It's gonna be all orange for y'all, probably.
That is true. Also, check us on Patreon. Thank you for everything. We'll see you next time.